Hello everybody, Nathan Soborowski here with S-Mute. I have a number of my trombone salt shaker mutes here in front of me. I've got 3 of the bass trombone salt shaker mutes in the various colors, and then I have the tenor trombone salt shaker mute in the packaging here, and I thought I would do a bit of an unboxing video and talk about the mute a little bit and explain some of its features and benefits and such. I'm sure many of you have seen these mutes on social media. I've been fairly active with posting about them, but not a whole lot of follow-up explanation. You'd have to go to my website and read the reviews and things like that to get, I guess, more details. The one video I would point you to is a video done by Dr. Brad Edwards of Arizona State. He did a really nice demonstration video where he goes through the mute with its different options and performs on the trombone with the mute. It does a really good job describing the benefits and the differences of the different kind of sound colors that you can get out of the mute. So definitely check that out on my Facebook homepage. That's linked right at the top, so you can check that out if you like. All right. So the packaging that you would receive the mute in is this cylindrical type of packaging, and this is actually meant to be reusable. So if you were to purchase this mute, you should definitely hold on to it. It's a nice sturdy cylindrical type packaging. If you were to move, or you were on tour or something like this and you have this mute with you, it's you know, super small. You can throw it in your luggage. It's going to keep the mute protected, and it's just a good thing to have. Kind of a side benefit of the product is the packaging is definitely reusable and functional and useful. So anyways, we'll go ahead and open the mute up. So when you get your mute and you unbox it, you'll find a few of these little packages in here. One of them will be the extra corks. Okay, so there are actually a set of corks installed on the mute, and then this is 2 additional. The base package comes with 2 additional thicknesses. So one is thinner than the one that's installed, and one is thicker than the one that's installed. So you have a little bit of range of thickness to experiment with the mute, even at the basic package. The paper, obviously that's a QR code. That will link you to an instruction or guide document on my website that shows you a little bit about how the removable cork system works. So if you're curious about that, you can check it out. The other package is some additional felt pads. These are 1/4 inch thick wool felt. It's very high quality, acoustic grade type felt that you can use in conjunction with the mute in various configurations. And the QR code on this one goes to a configuration guide, which is essentially a collection of different, ways of installing the felts that that trombonists have relayed to me as working well for them. So I'm kind of adding to that as I go. So they'll email me and say, hey, check this out. I really like how it works with the felts configured this way, and then I'll add that into the configuration guide. So if you're curious about that, you can definitely worth checking out. I believe these are also linked on the page with the mute itself, so you don't have to buy it. You'd probably grab it off this video even if you wanted. So, okay, that's the extra felts. And then we have the mute itself. Okay, and this is it. Sort of a straight mute type of shape. You've already seen that from the posts that I've done on Facebook, I'm sure, those of you that have seen those. So it's very, very much like a straight mute, with the exception of these holes at the end that really are a big part of what allow the mute to sound the way that it does. Not the whole picture, but a big part of it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit of the features and then things unique about this mute, etc. So the end of the mute, you actually can unscrew this. All right, and what that will expose is the interior of the mute. And then on the cap here, you see this felt pad at the end. And this is one part of the configuration possibilities of the mute itself. So you can very easily pull this out if you wish. There's a little lip here that keeps it, held into place. So when you're experimenting with different kind of sound, the sounds you get out of the mute, this may be one of the things you may want to try. You want to take the felt out and see how you sound with that. Very easy to reinstall. You just kind of center it on there, push it back into place, and there it's back just like it was. Okay, and then on the inside of the mute, you get one of these very big thick mutes or thick felt pads. So these are not glued into place. It's removable. You can configure it kind of the way you saw when I removed it. So it's sort of in the center there. You can push it down against the side. There's a number of different ways you can play around with this center one. You can remove it entirely. It really is up to you. When you experiment with the mute, if you decide you want more of a muffled sort of fuzzy sound versus a really open sound, the felt configuration, you're going to want to experiment with the different ways of putting in the felts to get the sound that you want. Okay, so that's how that works. This screws on quite easily. And there you go, back to fully assembled. Okay, so that's the felts. The extra corks, as I said, there's a thinner thickness and a thicker thickness that you get. This is the medium thickness that's installed on the mute. And so even with the base model you get, or the base package, you still get a number of thicknesses to experiment with. So this is sort of like what started it all, the removable cork idea. I came up with this over the pandemic and refined it over a number of months to the place that it is at now. This had I had a patent application in on this, and that was recently approved, and it's all gone through, so now it's fully patented, which is very exciting for me. And I think this is quite a useful thing for us as brass players, because in the past, as you all know, we had to either file the corks down or add the cork thickness back on by gluing corks and such, and that was a very inconvenient way of going about changing the depth of the mute in the bell because it was very slow. So you have to re-glue the corks, you file it. If you go a little bit too far, then you're back to square one, or you got to glue cork back onto it. Whereas with this, you can change the thickness, test it out, and get immediate feedback. If you don't like it, you go back to where it was, or maybe go out further. With thicker corks, you get that immediate feedback, so you can figure out how you want the mute to sound very quickly, and then it's ready to go. Okay. If you have multiple different horns with different bell sizes, it works great for that too. So you don't have to have like 3 different straight mutes, for instance, and then have to file the corks for each bell, right? So you can use one mute and then change out the corks depending on the size of the bell. All right, so the way this works is we'll lift up on this little tab here, and we're gonna just gently. You don't need to crank up on it. You see that it should just start to slide back, and then if we actually push down toward it, sort of in the center here, it really easily slides. Okay, so very easy to remove the cork. You don't need to really yank up on this little tab here, just gently until it clears the rail, and then it'll slide off. Super easy. Okay. These little ears here, you can see them in the video. Those are meant to grab onto the underside of the rail or of the cork assembly here to make it easier to install. So you'll just line that up, and then they'll grab on there, and the whole thing should push forward. So sometimes you got to kind of help it out, like make sure you get it lined up here, and then once it's gripped, then you can just push it on. Okay, so it's meant to be super easy. I try to fit them as snug as possible. So what you don't want to do is, like, if it's not moving, you don't want to just pull up on this tab really hard. You just want to lift it up so it slides off, so it starts to slide, and then, like I said, you can kind of push down here in the middle and slide it. Okay, and they should all slide off nice and easily. All right, so that's the removable cork system. With the salt shaker mute, there's so the standard option, you get 3 cork thicknesses, and you get the felts, and then with the deluxe package, you actually get all 10 thicknesses. And you get an additional end cap that doesn't have any holes on the bottom. So you'll still have the holes on the side, but no holes on the bottom. That adds some reflective qualities to the sound. Some people really seem to like it. They like the core that it adds. I've heard back from some players that they like to use that with the plunger, things like that. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me through my website, sales@s-mute.com, or through Facebook. I'm pretty responsive in those two places. And thanks for checking out the video.